In April 2025, I accompanied 8 international PhD students from our university on a study tour to Zhejiang, a province along the east coast of China, south of Shanghai. During this trip, we made a special visit to Yucun village of Anji County, where in 2005, the then Secretary of the Zhejiang Provincial Committee of the Communist Party of China, Xi Jinping, famously stated that lucid waters and lush mountains are invaluable assets. In Chinese, it is 绿水青山就是金山银山, literally translated as lucid waters and lush mountains are gold mountains and silver mountains. Based on this famous quotation came the two mountains theory, which emphasizes the dialectical unity between ecological environmental protection and economic development. In this session, I'm going to first explain what ecological revitalization is, and then use the case of development in Yucun to illustrate what rural areas have done for ecological revitalization. Finally, I'm going to examine with you the key factors that drive ecological revitalization. So what exactly is ecological revitalization? In simple terms, ecological revitalization means taking the path of rural green development. Through the combination of ecological protection and governance, the transformation and upgrading of the rural economy can be realized, providing a solid foundation for the comprehensive revitalization of rural areas. It covers multiple levels, including protecting and improving the rural ecological environment, developing green agriculture and circular agriculture, promoting the construction of rural ecological civilization, and making a good ecological environment the support point for rural revitalization. From a macro perspective, ecological revitalization is an inevitable choice for realizing the harmonious coexistence of human beings and nature, and a rethinking and transcendence of the traditional developmental model. From a micro perspective, it is related to the quality of life and future development of every rural resident, and to whether we can leave a beautiful and livable home for future generations. Ecological revitalization includes measures in the following areas: improving rural living environments to build livable villages, promoting green agricultural development for harmonizing production and ecology, protecting rural ecosystems and maintaining biodiversity, preserving and developing ecological culture to foster green lifestyles, and strengthening ecological governance mechanisms for institutional support. Now let's look at the case of Yucun, where the two mountains theory was put forward. When we entered Yucun in that April, we were surrounded by green mountains and clear water. The fresh air rushed gently towards us, and we felt as if we were in a beautiful landscape painting. However, 30 years ago, it was a completely different scene. During the 1990s, Anji experienced a phase of breakneck economic growth, driven by a relentless pursuit of development at any cost. Yucun was home to Anji's largest limestone mining operations and thrived as villagers profited from processing limestone into bricks and cement. The village's annual income once surpassed 3 million yuan, equivalent to about 414,400 US dollars. Yet the mining boom came at a severe environmental price. Mountains were stripped bare, water resources became polluted, and even ancient ginkgo trees stopped bearing fruit. Some of these trees were centuries old. Back then, sewage ran through the village and smoke and dust hung in the air year-round, recalled Ge Yuande, a former miner. Villagers kept their windows closed day and night, and there was nowhere to hang laundry to dry without it getting covered in dust. Yucun's struggles mirrored a broader crisis in Zhejiang province. From the late 1970s to the early 2000s, Zhejiang's economy surged at an average annual rate of 13%. But this rapid expansion brought about a heavy toll on the environment. Clean water grew scarce, soil contamination worsened, and coastal red tides became a frequent occurrence. Drawing lessons from the environmental disasters that had plagued some developed nations, Zhejiang's policymakers began grappling with a critical dilemma: how to balance ecological protection with economic growth. In June 2003, Zhejiang launched a province-wide initiative to revitalize rural areas through green development, aiming to improve both village ecosystems and the quality of life for rural residents. In a desperate bid to reverse Yucun's environmental decline, after intense discussions and struggles, the villagers made the tough decision to shut down all mining operations and cement factories. The move, however, led to an immediate slump in the village's economy and a sharp drop in residents' incomes. Tang Zhongxiang, who served as head of Anji County's government at the time, noted that the county stood at a crossroads, uncertain of its future path. On one side, people knew deep down they couldn't keep trading the environment and their own health for fleeting wealth. Tang explained. On the other, they were skeptical. Could lucid waters and lush mountains really translate into tangible prosperity? In August 2005, Xi visited Yucun. "It's a brilliant move for you to shut down the mines," Xi said during this visit. "We used to say that we wanted both lucid waters and lush mountains, as well as mountains of gold and silver. In fact, lucid waters and lush mountains are mountains of gold and silver," he added. When the people of Yucun were still clinging to memories of the mining boom and uncertain about what lay ahead, Xi's vision provided a clear compass for the village's development, noted Yu Xiaoping, Yucun's deputy party chief. Yet, it took time for all villagers to fully embrace the core of Xi's environmental philosophy. In 2005, Pan Chunlin, once a tractor driver in the mining sector, pioneered Yucun's first homestay. Meanwhile, some villagers, skeptical that tourism could thrive, set up small workshops to make bamboo products. At first, the bamboo trade flourished, with an individual workshop generating an annual revenue of 200,000 to 300,000 yuan, overshadowing the beginner homestay business. But as the local environment recovered, visitors flocked to the now scenic village, leading to a tourism boom. By 2006, tourism had really taken off. I earned 300,000 yuan that year, Pan recalled. As pollution crackdowns intensified and safety violations drew heavy fines, many bamboo workshop owners found that their businesses unsustainable. They pivoted to tourism, opening homestays and organizing activities like fruit picking and canoe tours. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Yucun's transformation, Yu explained. It was only when villagers witnessed the stark contrast between the two development paths that they fully grasped Xi's concept and chose wisely. Today, Yucun has evolved into a renowned tourist destination. The site of the demolished cement factory now hosts a plantation, while vast tracts of land have been converted into rapeseed fields and lotus ponds. New ventures such as camping bases and cultural and creative parks have also taken root. In recent years, more and more young people have returned to work or start businesses here. My son came back after graduation and now runs a homestay, said Ge. The environment is beautiful and my family lives happily. This is the life I've always wanted. In addition to developing rural tourism and green agriculture, Yucun also keeps up with the pace of the times and actively introduces new economic forms. In 2022, Yucun launched the Global Partner Program and issued a hero's invitation to the world for building a future rural sample around 8 types, namely educational tourism, rural tourism, cultural creativity, agricultural and forestry industry, digital economy, green finance, zero carbon technology, and healthcare. At present, it has attracted 23 new economic enterprises to settle in, and nearly 1,000 young people live in the village. The introduction of these new economic forms not only brings new vitality and development opportunities to Yucun, but also provides more employment opportunities and income sources for local residents. In 2020, Yucun began to expand. Within the scope of Tianhuangping town, it united with 4 surrounding villages to form a 1+1+4 district group development model. By the end of 2022, Yucun had expanded again, linking with 24 villages in one town and 2 townships around it, with a radiation range of 245 square kilometers, forming a greater Yucun development pattern that links districts and promotes coordinated development of the area. Through the development of group cooperation, the Greater Yucun has realized resource sharing and complementary advantages. In 2024, the average collective operating income of each village reached 2.81 million yuan, an increase of 11.5% year-on-year. Yucun's transformation from a polluted industrial village to a green and wealthy model village has won many titles and awards. In 2021, Yucun was named one of the now UN Tourism's Best Tourism Villages. It has also been given the titles of National Civilized Village, National Beautiful and Livable Model Village, National Model Village for Democracy and the Rule of Law, national key village for rural tourism, and a national 4A level scenic spot. From the development process of Yucun, we can see that the key to ecological revitalization is mainly reflected in the following aspects. First, the transformation of mindset is the premise. As we mentioned earlier, it took Yucun villagers a couple of years to transform from selling stones to selling scenery. The tour guide in Yucun told us that the villagers were confused at the beginning, especially when their annual income dropped dramatically. The then Party Secretary Xi's visit in 2005 and his two mountains theory cleared up the cloud and gave them confidence in the new path they had chosen. We can see that only when people truly realize the importance of the ecological environment and establish correct development concepts and values will they have the motivation to protect the ecological environment and promote ecological revitalization. Second, policy support is the guarantee. The determination to make a change came from the Zhejiang provincial government. They decided to launch a province-wide rural green revival program to improve both the eco-environment of villages and rural residents' quality of life. The Chinese government attaches great importance to ecological environmental protection and rural revitalization work, and has introduced a series of relevant policies providing strong policy support and financial guarantee for Yucun's ecological revitalization. For example, in terms of mine treatment and restoration, rural environmental improvement, and green industry development, the government has provided a large number of financial subsidies and policy preferences. Third, scientific and technological innovation is the driving force. In the process of ecological revitalization, scientific and technological innovation has played an important role. For example, Yucun has used modern information technology to develop smart agriculture and smart tourism, improving the efficiency and competitiveness of the industry. In terms of mine treatment and restoration and ecological protection, a series of advanced technologies and equipment have also been used, achieving good results. Fourth, the introduction and cultivation of talents are the key. Through means such as the Global Partner Program, Yucun has attracted a large number of talents to settle in. These talents not only bring advanced concepts and technologies, but also inject new vitality into Yucun's development. At the same time, Yucun also pays attention to the cultivation of local talents. Through carrying out various training and educational activities, the quality and skills of villagers are improved so that they can better participate in ecological revitalization. In this session, I have explained what ecological revitalization means and used the example of Yucun to illustrate how ecological revitalization has transformed the village. Ecological revitalization is not just a crucial part of China's rural revitalization, but also a global task that requires joint efforts of countries in the world. Yucun's transformation from a polluted industrial village to a green and wealthy model village is a microcosm of China's construction of rural ecological civilization and green development. It provides valuable experience and inspiration for other regions in China and other countries, especially developing countries in the world. I believe that as long as we adhere to the notion of sustainable development, actively explore paths and measures, and have the courage to practice, we will surely be able to achieve the coordinated development of the ecology and the economy and make our Earth more beautiful and livable.